Edge Animate gives us a variety of options for publishing our composition out to a website. Now with our composition open, let's come up to the File menu. Let's choose Publish Settings. In this dialog box, we have three main targets that we publish out to: Web, Animate Deployment Package, and iBooks. First, let's come over here and choose Web. Under the Web settings, we have a couple of options. First is the Google Chrome frame. This is a technology from Google which will enable Internet Explorer 6, 7, and 8 to play more modern-based websites. If you check this option, you have the additional option of choosing whether or not there's a prompt, and the prompt can either be from the iframe prompt or an overlay prompt. You can also choose no prompt, in which case the technology from Google will be added to your HTML page when users are using those browsers. And if you choose not to use the Google Chrome frame, then the users who are using those browsers will see the down-level stage that we set up earlier in the course. The next option is to load frameworks from a CDN. This is a content delivery network. So instead of having jQuery copied to your machine and loaded from your server, you can opt to have jQuery loaded from an outside source. In this case, it's going to load it from Google's API website. And then lastly, we have the ability to publish content as static HTML. I'm going to leave this unchecked for the first pass, and we'll take a look at what Edge Animate writes when we publish this out. So now to publish this, I'm going to come up here and just move the background document over to the right here. I want you to be able to see the Chapter 14 folder on the operating system. Now inside of the Publish settings, I'm going to come down and click on this Publish button. Once I do that, the dialog box will go away, and we'll see that we have a brand new Publish folder in the operating system. So let's come over to the operating system. Let's open up this Publish folder. We have the first folder in here called Web, which is the first of the three options we have in our Publish settings. And inside of here, we have our includes, our images, all of our JavaScript, and our HTML. We basically get the same set of files from our main project folder, but without the Edge Animate document. So to take a look at the HTML, let's grab this HTML and open this up in a text editor. So in a text editor here, we can see that we have a script at the top, which first loads our Edge preload. And this JavaScript in turn loads all of the other JavaScript for the page and all of the assets and does the preload. We have a style element here. And then down here, notice we have just one single div with an ID and a class of the stage ID name that we saw when we created our composition. And everything else gets injected or added through JavaScript to generate the rest of the page. Now, one downside of this approach is that there's no content on this page that can be searched by Google. So let's close this from our text editor. Let's come back to our Edge project. Let's go back to the File menu, back to Publish settings. I'm going to come in here and check the Publish Content as Static HTML. I'm going to click the Publish button again. Edge is going to rewrite the content inside of this web directory. Now I'll reopen the ready-to-publish.html file up in a text editor. So now we can see that Edge Animate will write all of the HTML into the page. I can even see things like an apple a day, for example, which is some text that's set inside of a symbol. So now all of this text is written into the HTML page and can be seen by search engines. So this is a possible publishing option inside of the Edge Animate Publish settings. Next, we'll take a look at where our composition is loading our jQuery library. So let's close out of our text editor. I'm going to open up the ready-to-publish.html up in our browser. I'm going to right-click and use a diagnostic tool to inspect where the content is loading from the site. So under scripts, I can select jQuery here. And now we can see that the jQuery file is being loaded from the Google API server instead of our server. So with all of these options in place, Edge Animate gives us quite a few options for how we publish out content that we want to use on our website.